Hello Year 4, it's Mrs Dunn here with your daily maths lesson. It is Thursday the 11th of February today. We're going to begin by looking at rounding to the nearest hundred. So there will be 10 questions where you're going to round the number shown to the nearest hundred. Remember, when you're rounding to the nearest hundred, it's that tens digit that you look at. So if you had 347, we are thinking about the tens digit. If that digit is 1, 2, 3 or 4, we round down to the hundred before. And if it is a 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, we would round up to the next multiple of 100. So bear that in mind when you come to answer the questions this morning. So you will need your pencil and your paper. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer each question. So round 539 to the nearest 100. Round 757 to the nearest 100. Round 685 to the nearest 100. Round 110 to the nearest 100. Round 207 to the nearest 100. Round 910 to the nearest 100. Round 58 to the nearest 100. Round 9 to the nearest 100. Round 457 to the nearest 100. Round 495 to the nearest 100. Okay children, if that was a little bit quick, remember you can rewind the video, but now I'm going to reveal all of the answers and you can pause the video and give yourself a tick for each correct answer. Okay, hope you were really successful with your rounding to the nearest 100. This week we have been learning all about multiplication. We started off at the beginning of the week learning how to multiply multiples of 10. We looked at partitioning on Tuesday, and then yesterday we learnt the formal column method so that we could multiply 3-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers. Today we're going to use some of those methods to help us to solve problems involving multiplication. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video, write today's short date and today's learning objective: I can solve multiplication problems. Pause the video now and then come back to me. Okay, you should have written your short date and underlined it, and your learning objective: I can solve multiplication problems. We're going to follow with the same vocabulary as we've used all week. We're going to be using multiply, times, columns, ones, tens, hundreds and exchange. Let's have a look at our first question. So we have got a delicious sweet here that costs 16 pence. I want to know how much 4 sweets will cost. So we're going to decide what the problem is asking us to do. And then I've reminded you of the methods that you could use here. So there is a method that will suit everybody in today's learning. It might be that you use partitioning, so we partition into tens and ones. It might be that you use your column multiplication. It might be that you draw some place value counters. Whichever method you use today is absolutely fine, as long as we are multiplying and looking at the problem and picking out the correct information. So today we are going to look at 16 multiplied by 4. So I'm going to show you the 3 different ways that you might use today. So I'm going to show you how we could partition the number. So the calculation is 16 multiplied by 4. Okay. We can do 10 multiplied by 4 equals 40. So that's the 10 here multiplied by 4. Then I can do 6 multiplied by 4. So I've partitioned my 16 into 10s and 1s. 6 times 4. Remember, you've got your times table grids to help you with this. And then I'm going to do 40 add 24 to get my total. And that equals 64. So the answer is that 4 sweets will cost 64 pence. That's one way that you might do today. Remember to look back at your work from the last few days to remind you what we did. The other thing you might do is to draw some place value counters. So I'm going to draw a 10. I'm going to draw 6 ones. And I'm going to do that 4 times because I've got 4 sweets that each cost 16 pence. So this will just support you with your maths today. And it's about making a judgment. If you were fine at column multiplication yesterday, then use column multiplication, because that's our aim at the end of year 4, to be able to use column multiplication. If you still need to use counters, that's fine. So now I'm going to work out how much I've got all together. So I've got 6, 12, 18, 24. And then I've got 10, 20, 30, 40. So my 40, add my 2 10s is 60, add 4 more is 64. So my sweets are still costing 64 pence. I've just used a different method. Now we're going to look at the formal column method. So we would line up our digits in columns. So here's my 16, and I'm multiplying that by 4. So I've lined up my digits in columns. My units are together, then my tens are in their own column. So the first thing I do, remember, is multiply the ones digit by my 1-digit number. I'm just going to jot down what I've done, just to remind you. So it's 4 times 6, which is 24. So I can put my 4 ones here and my 10s underneath. Then I'm going to do 4 times 1, my 10s number multiplied by my 1-digit number. 4 times 1 is 4, and then add on the 10s underneath is 64. So again, different method, same question, same answer, 64 pence. Okay, so today's learning, children, it's the same learning for everybody, but it's how you approach and the method that you use. So you've got some scaffolded questions which are smaller numbers. And again, you can use the multiplication grid. You can pick the method that best suits you. Okay. There are also some stretch questions as well. Okay, so pause the video and then come back to me. We'll do some reasoning work. Okay, here's our reasoning question. So here's Bob, and Bob has been given a recipe for banana loaf. For one banana loaf, the recipe says he needs 5 bananas. How many bananas will he need for 12 loaves? And Bob thinks he will need 60 bananas. And I've said, is Bob correct? Can you prove it? So you're going to prove whether Bob is correct or not by showing one of the methods, so either by the partitioning or your columns or drawing your counters to prove if Bob is correct. Pause the video and then come back to me when you're done. Okay, so I think that Bob is correct and I've proved it here. So I've partitioned. I've said that 5 times 10 is 50. So I've partitioned into tens and ones. Then 5 times 2 is 10. And then I've added those together. I could also check it with my column multiplication. So 12 times 5. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5, add 1 underneath is 60. Well done if you proved that Bob was correct. Okay, stretch challenge is on the board for you. I've also uploaded that into Teams as well. The answers are uploaded too if you need them. So today we've been solving some multiplication problems using the methods that we've learned this week. Tomorrow is our live quiz. Remember, if you can't join the quiz, the PowerPoint is also uploaded for you, and there's a problem solving video with a task for you to complete as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's problem solving year 4, and I will see you tomorrow.